Thank you for joining me at Creating a Masterpiece. My name is Sharon Hofer. I am going to talk a little bit today about pastels. I get questions about this, like on a project, well, what kind of pastel should we be using? Well, there are basically several different kinds of pastels, and the kind that you're normally going to use with my projects are soft pastels. They are going to be in the form of little pieces, like actually they're going to come in a long stick, okay, but you're going to break them, but they're so soft that if you touch them they will get all over your fingers like this. You can't even keep clean. You're going to get dirty when you're using the pastels. This picture that I have right here is a picture that I'm working on with the soft pastels, and if you look at this picture, I'm going to just tape it up here to the board. You will see that I can smear the colors, and I can add more colors. Like if I want to put some blue in this picture, maybe a little bit of blue in the background, I can put it in the background and I can smear it to show just a little bit of color from the sky. See how that goes on? Just very, very soft, very lush. They have deep, deep colors. Now you're going to say, but what brand of soft pastel should I use? You can use whatever brand you want. However, I want to say that you get what you pay for with soft pastels. I usually use Sennelier brand, but there's Schmeichel, that's good. You can use Rembrandt, those are a little bit cheaper. You can, Dick Blick actually has their own brand that you can use, which is also a good brand. You want to keep them soft. Sometimes you're going to find pastels that are very, very hard, and they're not going to be as nice when you're doing a painting. The second pastel I want to talk to you about is oil pastel. These are oil pastels. The people buy them a lot because they're very, very reasonably priced. You can get these for $5 or $6 in the store. But these are so different. Yes, they're called pastels, but you can't work with them quite as nicely. Let me show you a drawing here that I have with using these oil pastels. They're oil-based. Now, these won't get all over. So for young children, they like them. They're almost like colored crayons, except they're a little bit softer than colored crayons. But if you start to put this on paper, it's not going to probably look as nice. Actually, with the paper I recommend you using is it's a velvet paper. It feels like material, though it's paper. It's smooth and shiny on one side. On this side is velvet. But if I start putting this on, like this koala bear that I'm starting to paint here, I could smear all I want and it's not going to smear out, okay? So it doesn't have the same type of capacity that the others have. But they're nice, especially for young children. And you can fill in and they get dark and they stay in place. So when you're doing your project, think about, what do you want the end project to look like? Do you want it to be very simple where you're not going to have a lot of smearing? Or do you want it to be a little more complicated, like the flowers, that looks a little bit more like a painting? Then you choose what pastel you want. Again, I thank you so much for joining me today on Creating a Masterpiece.